Hey everyone, my name is Caleb, and then in this video I'm going to be reviewing and demonstrating Geometer Sketchpad, an interactive geometry software that allows students to explore, construct, understand geometric relationships in a hands-on digital environment. Alright, without further ado, let's get to it. Geometer Sketchpad, also often called GSP, is a dynamic geometry program created by Key Curriculum Press and now is distributed by McGraw-Hill Education. And so that's you can actually go get this online for free. That's how I got it. So you guys can go get this for free yourself. It does say it's available for purchase on their website. But there is, I know, like single-use license that are out there for free. And you can also obtain volume licenses for classroom and district use. This technology is designed for middle school through college level geometry students. And it is widely used by teachers and educators to create interactive constructions, proofs, and explorations. So I did use this in my own geometry class here at ACU. And so we had to design certain projects along the likes. But the purpose and the target audience here, I kind of talked about that a little bit already, but the purpose for Geometer Sketchpad is to help students visualize geometric concepts dynamically rather than just seeing static. It is perfect for students learning about constructions, transformations, similarity, congruence, and proofs, and for teachers who want to make geometry more interactive and exploratory. So, for example, if I want to go ahead and design a triangle here, like I have, they can see how that triangle works. I can even do as much as I can create things. So I can come in here and say, okay, well, let me form some angles. And then I can even label those angles. So I can show label, and show label. And then I can measure angle. Yup. See, look, and I can even measure these. Give me a second. So sorry. Measure angle. Measure angle. And so now the student can watch and see as I move everything, and this can help them constitute what a triangle is. And so we know just from certain proofs of what I've learned is that um, all these angles together are always going to be um, a 180. And so if I take these numbers right here and I add them together, if you excuse me for 1 second, if it would let me. But if I took these three angles and I put them together, um, they're always going to equal to 180. And so that's what makes this easy for students to understand. Um, but the target audience is for geometry use. There is some pre-calculus use, and even some algebra that you can do. For example, like let's say I want to take I can even do smaller things, and I can say, okay, this right here, is 3 times as long as this, and I can even label them and stuff like that, and then have students create equations and stuff like that to make it more interactive for them. But as far as the alignment with North Carolina mathematics curriculum, I know that, like I just got done showing, that I can use these triangles to teach them about proofs, about how a triangle is always going to be 180 degrees. And so, let's see. Let's calculate this right here. Plus this. Notice that when I put this in here, remember what I just said? Notice how that number is not changing. It's always going to be 180, and I can teach students about that. And that's something that students need to understand. They need to know about proofs, about theorems, lines, and angles. That these angles here are always going to be 180 degrees. They also need to know that make formal geometric constructions with a variety of tools and methods. This is one of those ways that they can just create whatever they want. I mean, I can even come along here, and I can you know, create quadrilaterals. And if I even want to say, let's say, create a square, all I do here is I go, okay, boom, and then I go, okay, construct perpendicular line, and I can literally, now I know that degree is always going to be 90. If I go in here and I click, so I can also, watch, I can also hide this. So hide the perpendicular line. And so now this is always going to stay on this line, no matter what. And so when I go to move it, it's going to rotate about. Um, so I can create angles, right? I know this is always going to be, um, this is always going to be a 90-degree angle. Proof, right there. Boom. And I can show that to students on how to create these things. Not only create these things, but how to make them interactive and let students know that this is always going to be a 90-degree angle. This is what we would call a complementary angle, right? You know, it's within 90 degrees. So I can create things here in the in-between. So now if I redo this, see how there's that extra angle there. And bam. You know, let's do it on this side too. Now I know, okay. Now I know here, clicking on that. I'm trying to click on this angle right here. But you know, I'm going to hide this angle for the second. I can even change the colors on it. I can change colors on the object. So I can make this red, and then I can make this green, so I can see the color difference. And then I can bring this back. Look, I can even go, okay, show all hidden. And trust me, I spent a long time trying to learn how to use this. But a tool is only good as its teacher, right? And so being able to work with these things, and I can see that it's a 90-degree angle, right? But I can also show, okay, what this angle is, right here. And I can go, okay. I can click in on it. Click on this angle, and I can go measure the angle. Boom. I can measure that angle. I can measure that angle. Okay. You know what? Let's measure this one. Just to be sure. Just to be sure. Now I can go in just like I did before. I can calculate it. I can take this and this, put them together. Look at that. They're always 90 degrees. No matter what. Now this is a little different because it's outside of it, but I would want it to stay in the confines. This is where we can kind of work on making sure things don't break. But I know that as long as these stay within, they're not going to go anywhere, right? This is 90 degrees. So this is a way I can show, you know, different theorems and proofs like that. I also, you know, this is checking off boxes for the mathematical practices of reason abstractly and quantitatively. So we're using numbers here, you know, and we're also using pictorial representations, even dynamic representations, kind of manipulatives like concrete. And then we're modeling with mathematics, and again, we're using that appropriate tools strategically. So with GSP, students can physically manipulate the figures to test conjectures and support their reasoning. So when we're going over proofs and their focus in geometry. Now, I've already been kind of showing you how this works. And so I've, you know, the triangle and everything that I'm showing you. I can even watch this. I can take this right here. Go ahead and delete it right quick. But I can even create a reflection of this. So I can take it based off of this point. So say transform. reflect, boom. And the crazy part is, it's always going to be like that. Always going to be like that. And so it's always going to reflect based off that point. So let's do that. I can go transform, rotate 90 degrees. Oop, do it right? Hold on. Let me get rid of this reflection right quick. Oh, sorry. To highlight everything. No. Boom. And again, moving all that, it's rotated 90 degrees. So, and I can even do it more than that. I could translate it. Let's translate this whole thing. Translate. Yeah, let's roll with that. So you see it right there, right? Let's do 0 degrees. Actually, let's do 270. Sorry, we're going to move it 180. And we're going to move it 5 centimeters. Let's do 7. No, let's roll with 10 then. So I can show you that they're separate. Okay? I move this, it all moves. Because it's exact translated. And so students can see how direct translations affect. I mean, this is a reflection. This is a translation of the reflection. And so students can see how that's interacted. I can even bring up a whole graph on here and make the background look like a graph. Um, and so, boom. And so if I tell a student, okay, scrap all this, and I bring the graph up, I say, okay, let's take, this right here, this triangle, and I want you to translate it to the left 3 points and like down 2 points, right? So I'm going to take this right here, and I'm going to say, okay, so I'm going to take this, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to translate it. Translate. So we said we wanted to move it to the left 3, right? Okay. And we're going to translate it again. Translate. And we said we wanted to move it down, which is 270 degrees, right? And I said I wanted to move it down 2, right? So I have both translations there where I'm able to say, I want to move this down. And even if I wanted to, I could show students, okay, I could go bam, and then I could click, sorry. I can hide these. And the cool part is I can go in here and I can click label point, right? Label, right? And then if I wanted to, I could change the name and say, okay, how did I get from here to here, right? And ask students, how did I get from here to here? Well, some students may say, well, it just kind of looks like you shifted it over. Well, how did I shift it over? Um, and so, say I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm kind of lost a little bit. This is the cool thing that I really like, the usability and the written materials. They even provide videos teaching you how to use Sketchpad. So I don't even have to really do this video. They're showing you these things. They're teaching you how to use Sketchpad, which I think is phenomenal. And so there are the written materials. There's videos that teach you step by step how to create objects, things like that. And so it's very well organized. And it's just, I mean, it's very intuitive with easy used icons and drop down menus, things you're very familiar with. All these up here are something you don't see much different than using Word doc or even Google Docs. So it's something that teachers are very familiar with, and also students are very familiar with. So it does become a very excellent platform for discovery learning because it allows students to create, like I was doing, where I can create triangles, or parallelograms or trapezoids. Not only create but manipulate, and test ideas and see how that works. And I can do it by myself. I can do it with friends. So the main goal of GSP is to help students discover you know geometry concepts through exploration. And it, like I said, it more than exceeds that goal because they're able to measure. Like I was saying, like I can bring this up here, check this angle, and I can go, okay, cool. What's the measure of this angle? I can go in here and I can say, tell me what this angle is. Oh, cool. I know it's 123 degrees. 110 point. Like I know, I can do that. I can also animate, and I can transform shapes. I can take them and go, okay, cool. Um, I want you to move from here, and I'm going to translate it over. I want to move it to halfway across the page to the left. I'm going to go, okay, you know what? 20 centimeters. Got it. Boom. It's going to be the same object. I can move it. It's still going to be the same thing. It's going to copy exactly what I'm doing. And so I can do that. And this really helps students understand the logic behind geometric theorems and relationships. And so I can just teach students about circles. I can teach them about all kinds of shapes because it's not even just triangles. I can teach them about how actually something cool that I learned is how much circles actually play into you know being a part of triangles. And I just was like, wait, what? Like, this is a thing? Um, I didn't realize it could be something, right? And so I can create um, stuff like that. And watch this right here. I'm gonna create something for you. I'm gonna show you what I'm talking about. Um, so I can show you where exactly it comes from. Where exactly? Okay, so there's our point right there. And so now I know, okay, I can show you right there. Boom. Did not mean to do that. My mistake, sorry. Um, I just think that's so cool that that's something we can do. Where I'm able to basically find the center. Right? Now let's do something a little different. Um, I'm gonna do this right here. Boom. Construct an angle bisector. Another bisector. Like I can teach students about proofs. I can teach them how these things work. And I really didn't get a grasp for what I was doing myself until I started, playing with the things myself, and just getting that experience. And teachers, I feel like, can do the same with this, is just with some learning. I can hide that right there. So I know that's the center of our circle. Um, it's our circumcenter right there. But this right here, watch. If I take a circle, boom. Sorry, enter circle. So this is always going to be on the inside. And I can hide these as well. So this is going to be the center of our it's going to be the center of our triangle no matter what. So, sometimes it's outside, but I know that if I bring them together, right? If I bring them perfectly together, boom. Isn't that cool? Like how circles play into a triangle. Um, so that's really sick. So, all right. Let's talk about how it enhances teaching. And I think I kind of talked about this already. It's I can do things not just um, like I can do anything I want. If I want to type things out, if I want to do visuals, and it's interactive, so students can sit here and play with this all day long. You know, and make that connection to geometry, and it just asks students, what if? Allowing them to ask, what would happen? You know, if I, what happens if I click on this line? I'm like, okay, well, how do I find the middle of this? Oh, bam, that's the middle of the line. What happens if I move it? Oh, the midpoint moves with it. And so it blends geometry and algebra together, and it creates this perfect bridge um, for geometry not only, but also proofs. Getting students to understand why things happen in mathematics. And so the software can easily be used for individual practice or group projects. I mean, I've done this myself. I had to do a whole project on, um, geometry, but it also could be used for teacher demonstrations. And so I would absolutely recommend Geometer Sketchpad for the classroom. Um, and I would hope schools would go out and obtain the license. Um, and it's effective. It's research backed. I mean, Geometer Sketchpad has been around for quite some time, and it helps students visualize mathematical relationships, and it improves engagement and even deepens the conceptual understanding of geometry. So, although it's not free like other things, it's definitely a robust um, feature set and professional and precision, as well as it is a well-developed teacher resource. And it definitely makes it worth the investment for math departments to help focus on geometry. And so I know, as far as what I understand, geometry kind of gets put on the back burner, and this is a way that students can interactively pull together. So I do appreciate you watching my review for Geometer Sketchpad. This program kind of transforms geometry from static shapes on paper to living, moving constructions that students can explore and they can manipulate it and can truly understand. It is an outstanding tool for promoting hands-on inquiry-based learning, that concrete learning in geometry classrooms. So, all right, thank you, and have a great rest of your day.